Just worry about yourself.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Wealthy Minds Decoded. This is Minesh Bindi.
And I'm Andy Shaw. Hi.
And we've got a really great show for you guys today. And we've got our director Pete. Pete, you want to say hello?
Good afternoon, everybody.
And
Let's start us off.
let's start us off then.
Okay, guys, what separates a wealthy mindset from a poor mindset? A poor mindset looks to blame others for its failures, whereas a wealthy mindset accepts responsibility.
This is one thing that really annoys me. It's like you got people.
Pete talking.
You've got people who will go into a situation, screw up, and then will not take responsibility for the situation screwing up, but they'll try and blame everyone else around them and continue to blame everyone else around them without looking for the solution. And this completely hinders anyone's ability to move forward at all.
Yeah, I quite agree. I've worked in a lot of businesses, and this has been a sticking point with so many of the business partners. You know, they're so busy trying to look for the blame, you know, and to try and take focus blame away from themselves rather than, yeah, my fault, guys. I messed this up. I mean, Pete is a prime example. When I worked with Pete in the past, it's like he wants to stab me at the moment, but he doesn't know what I'm going to say.
I'm not sure. I'm getting ready. I'm poised.
Pete is, it's a case. It really is a case when he's made a mistake in the past. There were numerous ones, of course. Right, I don't know which one to choose because there were so many. Scissors are coming, right? No, in fairness, let's say there's a mistake.
Went from a pen to scissors.
Yeah, it's gone to scissors now, so I'm taking it a bit more seriously. Made a mistake in the past, and that action reminded me because that's what he's done. He comes and he goes, right, guys, I've screwed this up, and we need to sort it. That's it.
It's done.
That's it. Well,
Suddenly,
now that's the amount of time we've spent on the blame, right? Now we're solving the problem. Yeah, and that's how you handle a situation. You know, this is what a wealthy mindset does.
But haven't you found that if somebody, like for example, I've had situations where I walk into a place, I accept the blame for whatever's gone on, even though if it might not be my 100% responsibility, I just accept the blame so we can move on. Yet people with a poor mindset want to continue on, talking about the fact that it was your fault.
Exactly. Yeah, I used to think the other way. It was like, try and get out of the blame, because if I take any blame, then I'm going to be less of a person. It's because
your mum must have loved you as a kid.
but
in the last few days, you've improved. Since Tuesday last week, you're coming on.
You're still annoyed at me for that first comment about your
Scissors
continuous
are still here. Scissors are in reach.
But you would just set the blame, even when it's not your fault. The quickest way is exactly what Minesh just said, is to take the blame. A person with a wealthy mindset isn't worried about the blame, because that's whatever's happened has happened. It's irrelevant, right? You just take what you need to learn.
I think the blame is really a symbol of progress, isn't it?
What do you mean?
It's like something screws up, right? Somebody has to be blamed for it. Then we can move on.
Yeah.
Right, so it's like, okay then, it's a symbol of progress. Somebody needs to be blamed. My fault. Let's move on.
That's a good point. And it's not. It's just, the blame is. The blame is useless. All it is there for is what's gone wrong. Is like, let's see how this went wrong so that we don't do it again. That's the only reason to look at it. We don't want to do it again.
No. What blame is about is to find a person and then completely ruin them.
For the rest of their life.
For the rest of their life.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong.
Mistake.
Don't get me wrong. What was the? I can't say that story. If you're in a group of mates and one of them does it wrong, you own them forever.
That's different.
Right? That's completely different. That's that's something they just carry with them for the rest of their natural lives, because you bring it up all the time. But you'll only do it out of fun.
Or until they stab you.
Until they stab you. I remember one guy said to me once, we were just mercilessly taking him apart, and he just went, Andy, can you just give it a rest? And I went, yep, fair enough. Because the second he'd had enough of it, I stopped. Yeah, because you don't carry something on if somebody's not having fun with it. You only ever do that sort of thing if it's fun. If it's not fun for the individual, then it's bullying. So you stop it instantly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's fair to say that in a lot of business, fractures occur between the different tiers and responsibilities, because although you need to accept the blame as an entrepreneur and move on, there are cases where you actually need to find out and drill down what happened. I mean, this is
Yeah,
right.
but it's drilling down to what happened so that you can avoid making the mistake again. It's not about, holding somebody out to dry and going, putting them out. Pete, I mean, Pete, you've got to learn this stuff, mate. You've got to learn this stuff. Oh, I wish you could see the camera. I wish you could see what he's up to. I think we have a losing situation going on again. I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry. I do apologise for the breakdown in formal communication. Oh, he's a gorilla now. Right, okay, shall we move on to the next section of the show?
Well, thank you for that explanation, Andy. I won't try and lead the conversation again,
Please don't.
being I didn't need an explanation personally.
Just leave.
If I put a little light on top of the camera, will that help you see where it is?
Just leave.
Okay. So what can we do once you have a successful
Hold
mindset?
on, mate. Hold on.
The director.
We're not ready.
Lost it a little bit there. Right, okay, I'm ready. I'm good.
He had a nervous breakdown. That's what that was. Oh, God. That was fun.
Right, obviously, now, the next part, and this is for the audience. Okay, it's not for me.
It's not your education.
I know what the answer is, okay? This
Oh,
is
do you?
for the audience, yeah?
That's interesting.
So, Andy, once you have a wealthy mindset, are you able to make continuous progression regardless of the situation?
What? What?
Well, obviously, Pete's now decided to make fun of handicapped people,
No,
Our director is
that
taking...
wasn't me.
That wasn't you.
That wasn't
was
me.
it? Oh, right,
It was that bloke who just left.
Right, okay, should we get back on track?
I apologise
Yeah.
for his
Yeah, for our directors.
dissing of handicapped people.
Yeah.
Me and Andy do not condone that, and Pete will be fired after this show.
Go for it, mate. Please
Right.
carry on.
Have we finished?
Please, can you repeat that so people can
Now
understand
this
it?
is for the people, not for me, as I said just now. Once you have a wealthy mindset and you're able to make continuous progression regardless of the situation.
Right. So,
I
when
think
you...
what he meant there is once you have a wealthy mindset, you can make continuous progression regardless of the situation.
Yeah, sorry I didn't say exactly that.
Right.
I think you did say exactly that.
Did I? I don't think I did actually. I
Doesn't
think we should
matter.
focus on that and analyse it for a while.
Right.
You there, mate?
When you can accept responsibility for a situation and move on, regardless of what else is going on,
Pete.
what that gives you the ability to do is the ability to make continuous progression without being stopped. Are you alright? He's now moving in behind the camera.
This is so difficult to do because you haven't got a clown in the background doing this sort of stuff, you know.
Pete's
Okay.
just learned Indian dancing last week.
Yeah.
He's trying to do that. No, so
Right.
you can make continuous progression. No one can stop you.
Yeah.
Because if you can take the blame for something, suddenly you can move on.
It's not just that. It is about being able to take whatever the situation is, whether it's good, bad, whatever, and use it to move forward. If it's bad, it's would stop somebody with a poor mindset. They would just halt in their tracks,
Cry about it.
You know, take a few weeks ago, we talked about the exhibition we did, where it's we didn't get as many sales as we wanted. It was somebody with a poor mindset. Oh, this is really bad. This isn't working out. You're not taking what's going on. So if you're always continually looking for the good in every situation,
Whereas you accepted responsibility that it was your stupid decision,
It
your
was my
stupid
stupid
bet,
decision,
and
yeah.
you were just stupid.
it
And
wasn't
now
a
you
good
can
bet.
move on.
It wasn't a good bet. I admit that. You will be getting a bottle of champagne on the cruise. That was the deal, right?
So what was the deal?
Hang on a second. I think that's the first bet I've ever lost. Anyway,
Your ego is perfectly in check, mate.
yeah,
Wrong.
yeah. Where do we get to? Go on then.
Sorry, tumbleweed, mate. Tumbleweed.
All right, sorry.
Carry on, please carry on.
I can't remember where we were.
Well, you've stopped so far 11 minutes early on that section, so please carry on.
Right, guys. Let me just try and bring this back on track. Right, the importance of continuous progression is the most. It's the single thing that. What's that Einstein quote that you said? It's not that I'm smarter than everyone.
Just stay with the problem.
I stay with the problem longer. Where it's the same thing with progression and reaching a goal. It's not that you're smarter than everyone. It's that you'll stay there regardless of what happens and fix everything and continue moving forward.
Yes, it is. It is the I call it the until. You keep going until you succeed. You know, when people go on a journey from London and Brighton, they keep going until they get to Brighton. They don't stop at Hayward Heath and go, "This is a long journey. Best I turn back." Like, they keep going until. And when you've got, no matter what happens, you make continuous progression. You just keep going, because when you keep going, you'll eventually get there.
And the fastest way to keep moving forward when you've entered a business problem is to take the blame and just go, "Let's go. All right, my fault. Let's go. Move forward." Because what that really does is, as soon as you say it's my fault, it gets that pressure off people's minds, and suddenly people can start thinking of what's next. As soon as your team and your collective consciousness is thinking of what's next, that's it. That's what you want. You want to get people aligned to that energy.
When one of the quickest solutions we found in business meetings, I used to work with a guy, and he used to there would be some fraction, you know, it'd be a little bit of a confusion. You know, the blame culture was just coming back in, and he'd go, "Right, look, let's just put it this way. It's all my fault. Right, so now I've taken the blame for all of this. Now can we solve the problem?" And it was really, really fast, and it was done in an instant, and we were able to just move on. So what have we learned from this? Well, we've learned we shouldn't do this, and we shouldn't do this, and we shouldn't do this. But what else have we learned? We've learned is possibly if we do that, it's going to work. So continuous progression. So then we go and attempt. We go that way. You know, it's like Edison used to say. Edison said, you know, when I failed, you know, I've not failed 10,000 times to build a light bulb. I've successfully learned how to not build a light bulb 10,000 times. That's how he works.
Yeah. Let's move on to the you know, the part that's written down.
Okay, so the case study on bad mindset or culture analysis.
You need to speak a bit louder for the mic.
I know. I'm sorry, mate. My tongue nearly fell out my mouth at that point. £150,000 loss, Manesh.
Right, okay, so this is the case study of when we were involved in property, and how a particular situation that wasn't leading to anywhere because no blame was being taken, and which didn't allow us to move forward, led to a £150,000 loss. We were working on a property deal.
So this personally cost you £75,000. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, the company it cost the company 150 grand.
Yeah, and you were 50%.
Yes. Yeah, it was a partner, right? So, thanks for reminding me. Just making it that much more personal.
Rubbing some salt in the wound there.
Right. So, what happened was we were in the middle of a property deal, and this person had really led the negotiation, but assumed one part of it, but hadn't confirmed it with the other party. The other party had assumed the complete opposite, but hadn't confirmed it with us. So then what happened was, we were at the point of the deal, the commission on this deal was 150,000. This wasn't one property for 150,000. This was a development where our commission would have been 150,000 alone. And what happened was, it got right to the point where the deal was about to happen, and suddenly there was a battle over this little assumption that both parties had made. And because it was my job to take the conversation that had happened on the phone with my partner, put that into writing, and send it over to the other side, it was my fault that this assumption wasn't clarified, when really it hadn't come through in the communication that I received on my end. So what happened here was, I was at that point where I wasn't ready to accept blame, right? We've all been there, yeah? And he was in the position of he's not accepting blame, and it was my fault. So we were having this argument, and during this argument, which lasted a week, the other side said, "Screw it, we're going somewhere else." And so the whole deal fell apart because of our inabilities for somebody just to say, imagine if I had just said, "Right, it's my fault, what can we do to fix this? Get on the phone and we can deal with this." Imagine if he had said, "Right, it's my fault, let me get on the phone, speak to them, and get this all sorted."
That's the difference between continuous progression and a poor mindset, which is it's not my fault.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the quickest way to get rid of this bug, to remove it from your mind, is just to learn to accept blame.
Yep.
Not just learn to accept blame, realise that blame is pretty much irrelevant unless it's going to help you in the future, in your future life.
Yep.
If you can figure out, oh yes, we did that wrong, that's why it went wrong, and the lesson to be learned was the assumption needed to be questioned, it needed to be brought up. Oh right, well that's a procedure, you need to put something in place to make sure that question's answered the next deal.
It was like, here's our notes, add that onto the bottom.
Yeah, it's not hard. So instead of being the deal was halted in its progress, it
was just halted, not in its progress. Yeah? It was just finished.
Halted, dead in its tracks, lost, all the money was gone, loss of reputation, probably didn't do business with that company again.
No.
That's it, all that reputation, all that work gone because
inability to
poor
accept
mindset.
blame.
But as soon as you can, a wealthy mindset, you've got to look at it and think, well, how would somebody like Richard Branson handle this? Yeah, if you get that sort of situation, how will Richard Branson handle this? Will he calm the situation down? That's the first thing. Calm the situation down.
At least there would be some communication between the two parties.
Yeah.
And the two parties, it wasn't me and the business partner, it was us versus them, right? That was the negotiation. There should have been some communication, but because of our inabilities to accept blame, we just didn't have any communication going on.
Yeah.
So they said, we're not having this, and we're moving on. So that was
Our business, my business mentor used to say to me, "You've been in business for years, Andy. How have you managed to keep out of court?" Because obviously, in his business dealings, he would go to court 2-3 times a year. He said, "You've been in business all these years, and you just don't go to court. How have you kept
because
out
he
of the
doesn't know
courtroom?"
about the shooters that you send after people that you have problems with.
Yeah, but the point is, what you look for is you look for the solution. You're not worried about the blame. It's like, right, well, how do we get out of this situation? How do we calm this situation down so that we can move forward? Because there is nothing, okay, you build your court muscles, if you like, you build your legal ability, but apart from that, the benefit of it is what? Isn't it far better to resolve something without going to that level?
You know what the funniest thing is? I just thought about it, and I think the exact assumption that was causing the actual problem, if we had just gotten on the phone and said, can we meet halfway, we would have probably had 25 grand less commission, and that would have been it. We still would have made 125,000.
Yeah. So which could have been solved in you
about
had the mindset you have today.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
It would have just been a phone call saying, listen, we both screwed up, we didn't confirm this, let's meet halfway, and the deal would have been done.
Manesh, can I ask, what was the tipping point in your own personal evolution between the point where you would have argued that and now where would you see it's more important to move forward?
It's really funny. 2 weeks after that, when I realised, shit, I don't actually have 150 grand extra sitting in the bank. Because I realised what happened was, the only problem was we didn't communicate. So I thought, what would have led to the communication if we had just gotten off each other's high horses and said, right, it's my fault, let's get on the phone. So it was literally 2 weeks after that that I realised, okay, if I just continue to take the blame for everything now, at least that way we can get shit done.
Yeah.
Wise words ended with a shit.
No, it ended with done. Shit. And then
they
done.
won't remember that, mate.
Thank you.
They'll
Well,
remember you.
we don't need to. No more profanity is necessary, is it? Right? Thanks, guys.
I think that's about it for this show, July.
Yeah. Right. Thank you very much for listening. I trust you've got a lot of value out of this, and this show was pretty important, and it was pretty personal for me for that particular story, which was a hell of a lot of fun. And we shall speak to you next week. Make sure you leave comments and all that other stuff as well, and we'll speak to you next week. All right.
Thanks very much.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.